good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Everybody, welcome to Tea Time. That's right, it's me. And I'm so happy to be here again on another Monday night. It is April 11th. I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and then get to my guest. Friday night, I really didn't do much. I just stayed home and I was studying my lines because on Saturday, I was in Murdered by the Mob, which is the longest running murder mystery show in Manhattan. Bobby's going to put up that picture of me as Donna Rosella Costello. There I am with my gray wig, and I am the big boss, Paulie's widow. And then Bobby's going to show you a cast picture of everybody. We were at the press box, and there we are. We had a blast. Unfortunately, that's the last show that's going to be at the press box. The press box has been around since 1867, and unfortunately, they're getting rid of it, and they're going to be putting some kind of condos or something. It's such a sin. It's such a part of New York history. You know, you walk in there and you just feel it. I mean, 1867, you're like, holy cannoli, but it's so sad. And then during the day, we were in Staten, Italy, and we did a private retirement show. And then Sunday was Palm Sunday. Everyone, it was Palm Sunday yesterday, and I hosted a beautiful Palm Sunday brunch with my family, and I'm excited about that. And I'll be with my parents next week for Easter. So whether you're celebrating Easter or Passover, I hope you enjoy your holiday. I'll be back here the day after. I'm going to just say real quick, happy birthday to Rich Walker, who's a fellow actor and comic. Love you, Rich. And Coaster's Tavern in East Meadow on Newbridge Road is having karaoke this Saturday night. So if you're not doing anything this Saturday night, come on out and sing. All right, let me get to my guest because Joe is a great guy. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a director, he's a producer, he edits, he's a chef, he's an author. I'm just exhausted just giving the laundry list of everything he does. But Joe Simonera is here with me. Hi, Joe.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an absolute pleasure. You know, for a second there, you put up that mob picture. I thought I was going to get whacked, but you know, now I feel a little bit more comfortable.
Oh, yeah, you should. Both my maiden name and your name end in a vowel. So we're good. We're good, Joe.
We're good.
Joseph. All right, so listen, I want everyone to get to know you. So tell everyone where you're originally from and where you went to school.
Yep, so grew up in Queens, and then I was raised in Long Island. My dad moved us to Long Island in 1979, which feels like another life ago.
Oh, right, I know. We're in Queens, because I'm from Bayside. Oh, okay,
Ozone
cool.
Park, yep.
Okay.
101st Avenue, 105th Road.
My cousin's there. Yep.
Yeah, the old stopping grounds. Yeah, you remember the Cafe 2000 was over there? Yeah, it's good. It was a great time to grow up in that area.
Yeah.
And then we went to Long Island for more backyard space.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been here ever since.
Where in Long Island did you land?
I live in Levittown.
In Levittown,
Yep.
and so you went to high school there.
Yep, went to MacArthur High School.
Yeah, and that's not far from me. It's wild, you know, because where you're situated, mine went Wantua, but my daughter went to North Belmore schools.
Right,
It's like
okay.
really weird, and then my other girlfriend's in Wantua, and her daughter went to Seavid schools, so it really, but
Right.
MacArthur's like not
Yeah,
far from me. It's right there.
A lot of famous people came out of there. You know, I still
Really?
associate
Let's
with a lot.
rattle off some names. You have some names?
Well, yeah, some very. I don't know if I should say any names, but
Why
definitely
not?
a magician, a famous
Okay,
magician,
all right,
a famous chef that I know of. Yeah, a lot of good people.
That's
came out of
cool.
there.
Well, then you went to Nassau Community College.
Right.
And you wanted to study pre-med? Is that true?
Well, I did study pre-med.
Okay, you did.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
at the same time, I was working at my uncle's restaurant in New York City.
Yeah.
He had a famous restaurant there. And I got suckered into that restaurant business, which was...
That's how it all happened.
Which was a lot of pay, you know. You look at that cash, especially as a young kid, you know,
sure.
15, 16, you know, you're making
Yeah.
$1,000 a week. You're
That's
like,
a lot of money
what kind
back
of school do you
then.
need, you know? But I was always very good at it. I was, and you know, the old saying that someone was sick and they couldn't, you know, they missed somebody on the saute line, and I just jumped right in, was able to do it. And then from there, I just got introduced to, you know, bigger and better chefs. I was introduced to Ciro Macchioni, who owned Le Cirque, which I had a
Wow.
lifetime relationship and history with him.
Nice.
And I just had always been in, you know, 4-star restaurants,
Right,
you know, cooking
right.
for the wealthy celebrities and stuff like that. So I was always sort of kind of involved in that celebrity status with doing their private dinners and going to their house and stuff like that, knowing I always wanted to take a leap into that area. But I ended up staying in the food business for a long time until I met Julia Child and I got my shot at a cooking show series for a long
Nice.
time.
Yeah, that was
10
on.
years.
Yeah, that was on PBS. It
Right,
called
correct.
Taste This TV.
Taste This TV, that's
yeah.
right.
And you did that from 1999 to 2012.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I
Wow.
still do it, you know.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
such
yeah.
a fan base, so I
You
throw up a
do,
video
because
every
Grace
now and again.
Wadati Matranga, who I spoke to before I came into the studio, we were in the car and she goes, I love Joe. I love him. We watched him all the time on PBS.
Yeah.
Forever.
So I like to try to, you know, keep it current. And I love to cook, I really do.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
I love to eat, but
Yeah, I mean, years of doing it and traveling.
Yeah.
That's kind of like when my kids turned 2 years old.
Right.
I said, okay, I can't be, you know, in Sicily for 2 weeks. And,
yeah, well, because you
know,
were in
you
Italy,
travel
you were
everywhere.
in France.
I went all over the world.
You were all over.
Yeah, before there was any of these cooking shows that you see, like going to and eating in these remote huts and stuff like that in Scandinavia somewhere. I mean, that's really what we were doing.
Wow.
You know, back when it wasn't digital, it was all cassette tape, and you had to worry about passing the cassette tapes through the X-ray machine.
Oh,
you know, it was
yeah.
crazy, but we had a great run. We had a really good run.
Well, you also you also studied at NYU for a little bit?
Correct.
Did you study film while you were
Correct.
there?
Yeah.
That's what
Studied film,
I
but
was assuming.
I always
yeah.
had a passion for film.
Yeah.
You know, it's just always one of those things where I used to tell my cinematographers when we were doing cooking shows, I said, you know, we're going to do this really scary horror movie. And they'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And we kept saying it for years after years. And then finally, we would always have like a break in the winter and a break in the summer with
Right.
Taste This. We would take like 2 months off. And I said, that's when we're going to do it. So we filmed Purification back in 2012.
Right.
Which was my first feature film.
Yes, you wrote it and directed it.
Right, correct. And I was in it as well.
Yes, and you acted
And
in
it played at Cannes Film Festival. So it was my first one out.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was my first one out.
That's so
It played,
cool.
and it did well. It had about 38 theaters nationally.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and then, you know, even back then, you know, VODs, platforms weren't really that relevant. It was all like Redbox, Blockbuster,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But it
So I
had
have
a good
to ask
run.
you, who cooks at home?
I cook, but my kids are very good. And my wife does some dishes that she's very good at.
Okay.
But my kids are exquisite chefs.
Really?
Yeah, they know food. I mean, you know, they know.
Well, they grew up with you.
Yeah, they have a palate.
to.
They have a palate
You
that's
know?
like no
and I'm
other.
sure you introduced them to, because let's face it, when we're kids, I say we eat like kid food, you
Yeah,
know,
right,
grilled
right.
cheese or burgers or whatever, you know. But to get introduced to, and I remember as a kid for the
Right.
holidays having shrimp or lobster or like, you know, for Christmas Eve, all the you know,
Right,
seven
right.
fishes or whatever. But it was like, that was like a big deal in my house. That was
Right,
something
right.
you didn't have all the time.
Yeah, I
so
know, yeah.
when you're young or you'll taste a baked clam or
Yeah.
you know, or a shrimp, I'm
Yeah,
sure they
it
were
opens up
introduced.
your
I'm sure
depth
they
of
were
knowledge, yeah.
introduced to foods, many more different foods than regular kids today.
Well, yeah, you could imagine how many invitations I get to go to restaurants that were open. So, I mean, my kids were flying to Mexico.
Wow.
You know, it was like they developed a palate very, very early
yeah,
on. You know?
and they're tasting really authentic cuisine.
Oh, totally. The best chefs in the world.
Amazing.
You know, I mean, they would be 4, 5, 6. I would take them with me to Mexico at, Michelin
Yeah.
star restaurants.
Yeah.
And
See, growing up, I used to watch The Galloping Gourmet. Remember him?
Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
And yeah, Julia Childs.
Julia Child was
yeah.
great. I mean, I worked with her. She was just fantastic. But that era started what you see today.
Yeah.
It really
Oh,
was. And it was it was a time where it wasn't really accepted. It was weird. Anything that's new was not accepted. It's weird. So, if you want to do anything right in life, you should either think that you're ahead of the game by not getting a response,
right,
or it feels in your heart that it's right.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the world doesn't catch up with stuff. And it almost, you think that you're failing, but it's really that you're just ahead of the curve.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And that's what they did. Her, James Beard, The Galloping Gourmet. Another one was Alan Smith, if you remember. The Frugal Gourmet.
And then I remember him. And then years later, he had Emerald and.
And then Emerald launched what they called the New Age cooking show.
Well, think about it. It was almost like he opened the door for the Food Network.
He really did.
Yeah,
he really did. And he got screwed over by that network, like so many people did. But he was great. I know him personally. He was a great guy. He's just such a big
heart. My girlfriend actually went to one of his shows, and she got to sit up front and eat. And I was like, "Oh, you're lucky."
Yeah.
He's very, very lucky.
He's like a big teddy bear, and he's the type of guy, he just goes with stuff. And unfortunately, when he left that network, and I'm not saying that anything bad about any networks, but I feel when he left that network, it was almost like they lost a good soul on there. It just never went back to the same.
Yeah, I totally.
And then they started doing the cutthroat competitions and stuff like that, which I don't know. There's nobody that's produced more cooking shows than me. So I've produced about. I was just on a documentary. Probably we stopped counting about 6,500 half-hour shows.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna go through. You know what? Let's go to my first commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna go through like a laundry list of what he's done because it's amazing and so impressive.
Thank
you. So stay right where you are. We'll be back with Joe when we get back. Don't go away. So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God. Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Well, hi there, Teresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Teresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm going to give some shout outs to Grace Guidotti Matranga in the Boogie Down Bronx. I mentioned her before, she's watching, and Joey Cat is watching, and Bruno, my friend, and Ann. Thank you everyone for watching the show. Please like it, please share it. I'm here every Monday night at 8 o'clock on beautiful Strong Island Television in Paradise Studios in Massapequa, and every Saturday, for those of you who get Cablevision, Optimum Cablevision, you can watch me at 11 a.m. on Channel 20, and I'm here with my friend. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a director, he's a producer, he's a chef, he's an author, Joe Simonera.
Such a great program you have here. I love it.
I appreciate
feel so comfortable too. Like there's no, no pressure.
I like to make my guests feel, no, there's no pressure.
Yeah.
It's just a fun 55 minutes, and it's all about
well, and
you.
you're a great host too.
Thank you.
You ask the right questions.
I appreciate it.
You know when to intervene. That's important, right?
Yes, it is. So ultimately, you were a chef for a very, very long time. In 2001 to 2004, you also were producer director for Don't Quit Your Day Job. Tell me about
yeah.
that.
Well, that was part of my production company, which did a lot of shows, anything really lifestyle related. Don't Quit Your Day Job was a show based on people who had other talents that wanted to leave their jobs,
Right, and afraid.
and afraid to do it. It was a great show, you know, and it was a good run. I
Yeah.
mean, I think.
But I love it because there's so many people out there. You know, there are a lot of actors like myself, or comedians, or singers, or anyone in the entertainment industry where you need to supplement and pay your bills.
Look, it's especially in this industry, with the entertainment industry, one of the difficult areas to actually make a living with. So you
Yes,
have
yes.
to be very creative in what you do, you know, so that you can do what you really love
What
to
you
do.
really
Like
love.
even for
I
me, making
know.
movies, you know,
Yeah.
I fund my own movies. I mean,
Yeah.
there's, you know, people like, okay, how's it, you know, yeah, they get more popular and they get more reach, but
Right,
you know,
right.
I also have the largest production company for doing cooking shows, and that sort of funds everything, you know. But the movies, I mean, I love. It's
Well,
such a passion, know?
you've taken off with your movies. First of all, you're a big fan of horror.
I am. I definitely am, and I'm trying.
So you
I
have
was-
to tell me, what was your very first horror movie you ever saw?
Oh, The Shining. You know, The Shining is.
That was your first.
Yeah,
that was
The
the first
Shining.
horror flick you ever saw.
It was the first horror flick I ever seen, and you know, Stanley Kubrick, in my opinion, is one of the best directors in the universe.
Okay.
And what he was able to do with that, if you really study that particular movie, and that was the first horror film I had ever seen. It was back in I want to say maybe '79 or '80.
Yeah.
They had a commercial for it coming out on in the movie theaters, and I remember begging my mom. I'm like, I got to go see this. She's like, you're not seeing that. I was like, this is just amazing. But yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, my first one, I think I was, I don't want to age myself, but I was in Florida visiting my cousin, and she took me to see The Exorcist. And
That was scary.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
that
sleep
was-
for a week. I
Yeah.
couldn't sleep for a week. It was bad. It was bad.
You are right. Yeah, and I don't really like possession kind of movies.
Right,
Like, you know,
right,
there's
right.
a certain kind of horror I do. Like, I don't like slashers.
It would have
I
been the
don't
first one I picked, but I remember also, I don't know if you're familiar, it's like I don't know if it became a cult movie or a B movie, but my cousin took me to see, it's called Happy Birthday to Me.
Oh yeah, sure.
Do you remember that
I
one?
do remember that. Yeah, sure.
That one I enjoyed.
Yeah, there's some good ones out there.
I was able
There
to
really
sleep
is.
after I saw that one.
Yeah, that one did it for you.
But I like, people like to get scared. They like to get
They do.
scared.
They
And
do. As
my-
much as they say they don't want
They
to,
do, though. They
they
do.
do.
They
Even
do.
the kids, you know, they'll say, I don't want to see that, but they've always got one eye open. They want to know what's.
And I remember my mother telling me as a kid that the thing that makes a scary movie scary is the music. She said if
Right.
you mute
Right.
mute
Correct.
it, it's really not. You know,
Correct.
that's
Yeah. So
scary.
you could watch a movie without sound, because that's the process when you do a
Well,
movie.
sure.
Is the very last
Yeah.
thing is to add the music
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
foley, and it's really nothing to it, you know, until you start to put those dreary tones and those sound effects
yeah,
and
you're like,
stuff like that.
ooh, you're like,
Yeah.
you're waiting. You know something's coming. I
That's
know.
right.
I love it. No,
That's
I love
the
it.
Alfred Hitchcock approach,
Yes,
right? The
yeah,
anticipation of
yeah.
being scared.
Then also in 2002 to 2013, you produced and directed The Flaming Greek. You did 53
She's done her
episodes.
research.
Tell me about that.
Again, that was part of my production company, which just does a boat ton of cooking shows.
Yeah,
And, you know,
yeah.
we created and produced these kinds
So it
of
was
shows.
all
like-
about Greek food?
Yeah, you know, it was weird. It wasn't so much Greek. It was about a guy cooking with a torch.
Oh.
Yeah, it was cook with a roofer torch.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he would flame everything, but he did it in a way that was very, very keen, very, very witty.
Safe? Very safe?
I don't know if it was
I
safe.
don't know,
We
I
did
don't
have a
know.
couple of accidents on set, but it was a steak like you've never tasted before,
Wow.
because you're dealing with 800 degree flaming temperature, not only from the grill on the bottom, but now from the flaming torch on top.
Wow.
So I mean, the steak is like anything you've ever tasted. But,
Wow.
So we did a lot.
Do you
of
go
that.
crazy like when people order their meat well done?
Well, yeah, because you really have nothing to eat. There's no flavor whatsoever. And unless you dredge it in ketchup or barbecue sauce or something that's
Right.
a liquid mess.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you really eating? It's like
I don't
chewing
know.
shoe leather. You know, but know where your meat is from though too, because you know
Yeah,
I love a medium rare burger.
Right.
But I'm not going to go eat a medium rare burger in some place I don't know.
Right.
You know,
right,
because
right,
that's when
right.
you know
That's
you
the
got
whole
problems.
thing. Yeah,
you know?
yeah. A friend of mine owns Patsy's in Manhattan.
Beautiful place.
And
yep.
he's invited me there to go. I haven't been there yet, but I plan on going.
You know, I filmed there several times.
Have you?
Yeah, so I knew his mom and his dad. Are they still
Oh,
around?
yeah.
Beautiful people. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, 2013, you wrote, executive produced, directed a feature film called 6 Minutes of Death. And my friend Fran Capo was
Right.
in that.
That's right, Fran. Yeah, that's right. How's she doing?
And let me tell you something, very, very cool special effects.
For that time,
Yes.
yeah. For that,
Yes.
you know, and keep in mind, you know, my films are definitely low budget, but we do the effects
Yeah,
in a
but
way
it
where they're
didn't
original.
look, it didn't look low budget.
No,
I have
we
to
try
tell
not
you.
to make it look
no,
low
no,
budget,
It
but-
was really, really. Yeah, Fran's
yeah,
good.
she was
Fran's
good. Yeah, very. I think she's got the world record for speaking or something
She's
like
got the
that,
world's.
right?
She holds
speaks very
many.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the fastest talking
Very good.
woman, but she holds many Guinness Book
Her and John
records.
Bastow were played many scenes together. 6 Minutes of Death, Acedia. Yeah, she's been in several things.
Yeah, and then 2014, you also wrote, executive produced, directed Venial.
Venial, yeah.
Venial.
Yeah, Venial was filmed in a monastery, and it was built in 1870. And
Love it, love it.
It was, you know, and I'm not just saying this because it's my own movie. It's the actors that really make the movie and my kind of sick thinking. But the movie is incredible. It really is. It's again, we talk about being ahead of your time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, the movies come back. It's like, oh wow, they did. You know, I never tried to do anything in a movie that had been done before. So I tried
Yes.
very hard to be original with
Right,
everything.
right.
Because it is an independent feature and it doesn't have the effects like a large motion picture. So
Mm-hmm,
if you don't have that kind of a budget, then you might as well be original and at least have people remember what you're
How
doing.
exciting is it that Coda, an indie film, won 3 Oscars?
I think it's great.
Is that wild?
Yeah, I think it's great.
It just makes me so proud. And I was saying how to be part of like the indie world, and you just never know.
You never know. You know, who knew that the first movie I ever did would play at Cannes Film Festival? I mean,
Yeah.
nobody knew who
No,
I was
that's
at that
huge.
time. You know?
That's huge.
And you know, there's several movies I did after that flopped. So it's
Right.
part of the
Yeah,
business. You know,
it's true.
You don't know what's going to hit.
It's so
you know?
true. Tales from the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Tales from the Dark is like a half-an-hour miniseries.
Correct.
Bobby, you gonna throw up that picture of Joe and I? You hired me. I worked for you, and we did the job
right.
job interview.
That's right.
And there I am, all the way in the back.
That was a great episode. You did
It was
fabulous.
We filmed that in Limbrook.
Right.
And I think I had 6 kids.
Yes,
6 kids
6
there.
kids, yeah,
6
you-
kids, husband. It was great.
Jamie Mattis.
Jamie was
the
great.
lead.
He's gonna
good.
come on the show eventually.
Yeah.
He was great. It was just, how can I put it? It was just so much fun, creativity. There's really no script. There's just a
None.
baseline
Yeah.
for everybody.
But you see, we change it.
But
So,
you do,
yeah.
you do
So-
change it. But and I have to say it's almost along the lines, this series, Tales from the Dark. It's almost like reminded me when I watched that episode I was in and the others, almost like a Twilight Zone feel to them.
Yeah, it's got that feel. Originally, we did the 13 episodes in 2014, I think it was.
Yes,
aired
it
on
was
Fox.
2014.
And Fox did not want to renew it.
Really?
Yeah, because
they didn't want it done in black and white.
correct. So they
Because
didn't
they're
want.
all done in black and white, which I think is genius.
Yeah, because it takes away-
adds to
Right.
it. It adds to it.
Correct. But they, like many networks, including my distributor, who says that I can't do anything with it in black and white. But I think that I hit my mic.
It's
I
okay.
think that it really diminishes the quality of what you're trying to do.
I totally agree with you. Totally.
You know, now going to color. See, and this is the whole thing about what you do and what you're the artist, whether you make films or TV shows. And this is what I have a big problem with networks and distributors trying to change things.
Yes.
And it kills the artist's vision. So
Yes.
if you can hold out, just keep doing what you're doing and building a brand, Because eventually, your vision is what makes you you.
Right.
It's not what a TV studio or distributor is going to say. Purification didn't get into many theaters; it only got into 38. It would have had a wide release. We would have
Wow.
broke 300 theaters. You want to know why?
Why?
Because they said I had religion in there. So they said re-edit it.
Really?
Take the religion out, and it will distribute it more. I said, well, what kind of religion are you talking about? I mean, without
Yeah,
going into it.
yeah.
So they said, well, you could leave some scenes of the church
Right.
because it was basically, if you study the Catholic religion, I'm not like this Catholicism,
Right,
professor,
right.
but purification is when you die and you go into the worlds in between or what have
Yes,
you, and that
yes.
was the basis of it. But yeah, many big movie chains, without saying any names. So if you re-edit, we'll distribute it.
Right.
And I said no at that time.
We got that
So,
down, that Italian thing where you don't say nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't know nothing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it comes
I can't mention any names.
Yeah, no, I've learned not to mention names because
Yeah.
I've done a few of these,
And you get in
and when
trouble,
I get off,
right?
I get the letter from the attorney.
You get in trouble.
Yeah,
I know,
so,
I know. It's like they kind of like put a muzzle
we live
on
in
you.
a very, very world. People get very hurt now. Whatever you say.
It's too sensitive. Everyone's too
It's
sensitive.
crazy.
I do now, when I do my comedy shows, I did a comedy show Thursday night at Murs in Farmingdale. And now when I open up my show, I do a little disclaimer at the beginning of it, which is funny. But it's, it has to do with sensitivity, and you're here to laugh, and I'm not malicious, and
I've
let's have
gotten
fun.
so many things suspended on my accounts. I did a COVID-19 documentary and stuff. It
Wait.
is like-
I want to get to that. Wait a second. This
Yeah.
Wait. We got to back up a minute, because in 2014, because you're skipping, 2014, you were writer, executive producer, and director of something called E19 virus.
It's freaky, yeah.
Because
that's
doing
freaky.
doing my research on you, Joe, I came across this, and it was like, all right,
You
so
really
you did
did
this
your
in 20
research.
You
You
did,
really did her research. You're a journalist.
you did this in 20. I actually wanted to be a news reporter.
Did you really?
Yeah, I went to Queens College for communication. I want to be the next Roseanne Scammerdella, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. You did this E19 virus. Okay, holy cannoli. And then
Yeah.
COVID-19 comes out. How crazy is this?
It was so crazy that everything leading up to that movie was entirely true now. About the
Insane.
government released
Insane crazy.
the virus. People. The only thing that didn't happen yet are people turning into zombies, but you don't know.
But you never know. You never know.
But yeah, so it was. So it's funny because I had that up on YouTube 3 times. It was taken down twice.
Really?
The second time they didn't take it down.
Okay.
But around the time of the pandemic, I saw 4 million views the first time they took it down. Wow. I put it up. It was a little over 2.5 million views. Then they took it down. Now it's still up.
All
Probably
right.
after this, they might take it down.
Well,
It's like
go to
1.6
YouTube
million.
and watch it.
Yeah.
E19 virus.
Yeah, if
Holy
you go to
cannoli.
Joe Simonera Presents, because there's 2 channels, Joe Simonera Presents, Joe Simonera Movies.
Okay.
You'll be able to see the E19 virus.
Okay, I'm just writing that down.
And that was starring Josh Pickel,
Uh-huh.
which is a very, very talented young actor at that time. Now he's directing. These kids grow up quick.
Wow.
And it was about 3 children who try to survive, with the aftermath of a deadly virus.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Insane. All right, well, what's insane is I got to take another break. So stay right there. More with Joe when we get back. Don't go away. So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Welcome to Sunday Dinner with Chef Clemente. This is an all-new show about family cooking, Sunday dinner, things we did as a child, bringing back some memories and some tradition. This is how this dish was born. I'm going to show you that in just a couple of minutes. So, the trick with the meatballs too, when you fry them, you don't want to overcrowd the pan too much. The drizzle, not too much of olive oil, right on top of that fish. So, a little flour. A little egg, Cella Luna, met somebody, everybody drinks some wine. Prosciutto going. Pass them around, everybody eat a little bit. Come on, you gotta dance. Oh my God! Get together, go visit your mother, your sister, your cousin, bring some pastry, some food, get together, eat, drink, be happy. Who wants some linguine, clams, and pastry?
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Teresa Canastraci Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Teresa on Facebook, Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. Thank you, John York from General Hospital and Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Sal's going to be at the, I still call it the Westbury Music Fair, in May. I think it's May 7th, so it's a great gift to take your mama to, if you'd like, or your significant other, your wife, whatever, girlfriend, I don't know. Just go see him. He puts on a great show, and I'm hoping to have him back in studio. You know, I'm trying to get in touch with him. He's a very, very, very busy man. Hi, Cindy and Mickey Delaney. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your love and support. I really do. I'm with Joe Simonera. He's an actor, writer, director, producer, chef, author. Yeah, you wrote a couple of things here. You wrote In the Weeds.
Yeah, that's a cookbook. Well, that's more like a chef anecdotes. But
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can find that on Amazon. And also, you also did New American?
Yeah, New American Cooking was with Father and Son Publishing, and that was the first cookbook I did. That was back when I had the PBS series. That was like a companion to the series.
Yeah. And you had motto, and your motto is, would you like to say your motto?
There are no rules in cooking.
There are no
People
rules
know that.
in-
No rules in
No
cooking.
rules in cooking.
That's right.
I like that.
That's right.
I
Yeah, that's
do.
been a motto for a long time. Yeah. And there really isn't any rules with
Right.
anything you do.
Right. Yeah.
The second people put rules
Yeah.
on it, it stops your limitations.
Do you have your own like specialty like that you're known for, or that your family enjoys? Like, oh, Dad's gonna make this. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I guess any braised beef. I know how to braise things well.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
pot cooking, like stick to your ribs.
Yeah. My brother-in-law did that for the turkey one year.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah, so I like things that you can cook for 4 or 5 hours and it just falls off the bone.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah.
I like that. You don't have to wrestle with it.
No. There's this, cooking is, I remember Sarah Macchione telling me, anytime that a chef says this is new and inventive, believe me, it's been done before. So it's really like your own personal taste on things,
Yeah, no, I totally get it. So in 2014, no, we're going to jump to 2016 now. You also wrote, EP'd, executive produced and directed Mi Familia.
Yes, that was it was a good series. So there's 1 and there's 2.
Yeah, well, in two, you went to 2 in 2021.
Yep,
correct?
2021, 2
La
came
Familia
out.
2.
And 2 is doing fantastic,
Familia.
actually. It's
Yeah.
distributed everywhere.
Isn't that
Germany,
great?
yeah. I almost went to Germany, but I didn't want to get caught up in this whole
Yeah,
stuff that's going
COVID.
on. But
Yeah,
yeah, they had
yeah.
a big premiere. They invited us down.
Oh, and nice.
It's doing really well, and the actors are just, I have nothing but love and respect for my actors, and I use a lot of the same people over and over. And people,
Yeah, speaking of the same actors over and over again, I was going to save this to the end, but since you mentioned it, we're going to talk about the Wizard's book more
Oh,
in
yes,
depth
very
later
excited
on,
about
but
that.
I'm going to be working with you on that
That's
again.
correct. That's
and
correct.
I'm so excited.
You're in one of the projects that I'm very, very, very excited about
Yeah.
called The Wizard's Book.
Right.
You can see a poster there.
Yeah.
And it's
Thank
it's
you,
really
Bobby.
a phenomenal.
He's the
Thank
best.
you, Bobby.
Bobby's
yeah,
the best.
He really is. He's very good. He's right on point. And this movie is going to be this is going to be the one.
I'm excited
yeah,
for
there's
this.
definitely
I
a
really
lot
am.
of intricate,
Yeah.
state-of-the-art things that we're doing, behind the scenes in green screen and stuff like that, like
Mm-hmm.
new technology that just came out that's available to everybody. You can imagine it's not just available to the largest studios, so people
Right,
like myself
right.
who are low-budget producers are able to make this work. And we start filming April 18th, which is a week
Yes.
away.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to get Joe in before then. So I'm glad you were able to do the show.
It's a
Seriously.
trilogy, so there's going to be 3 of them.
Yep.
And the premise is, I'm into fantasy movies like that. I love the Harry Potters, the Lord of the Rings, and I always felt that there was some things missing, right? Like where did these people get their power from? You know, like they don't really go into that much. So I created something called the Wizard's Book. It should be the Wizard's Books, which I might change it before it's
Right, make it
released.
plural, yeah.
And this is where these books come around to educate, you know, on all this creativity and magic. And it's about a group of kids who find the first book at a construction site.
Right.
And it just launches them into, you know, a different world.
Yeah, I love it. It's going to be so cool. So cool, it is. In 2018, you did, help me out with this name.
Somnium.
Somnium. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, that's about two sisters who possess psychic abilities, telekinesis. They can, pretty much everything you can think
That's
of.
pretty funny that you say that, because there's a show here with a friend of mine who has a twin, and they both have abilities. Linda DeVitis.
Very, very talented
Actually, Linda
actors
DeVitis is
in
having
this
her.
one.
She's going to actually have her sister
Really?
on, and
Very
yeah.
nice.
But that's funny how you're like kind
Well,
of
we
almost
should put 'em in
describing
the
them.
movie.
Isn't that wild?
It is wild. You know, I have great actors in there. You know, Riccadelli, Mike Grandinetti, Erskine Alexander, John Bastow, just, you know, Tiffany Brown Tavares, Robert Arnes. I could go on and on and on. I mean, the cast in that was just incredible. And it repeats, usually repeats.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the movie.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
the actors get better, I get better as a director,
Right,
the movies get
right,
better.
yeah.
And that's what I always
Well,
tell the
how do
actors.
you?
I said,
Joe, I'm like, I just want to know, where do all these ideas come from?
you know, I definitely have a weird imagination, and you know, I'm kind of weird because I don't write this stuff out. You know, like, so I'll come up with an idea and I'll say, yeah, I think this can work.
Right.
And, you know, and a perfect example of that is like Acedia, when I told you I filmed at the monastery.
Yes, yes.
There was a father there, quick story, Father Leo, and he said, who knew there was a monastery on Long Island, St. Joseph's,
Yeah,
right?
really. And what town was it actually
Laddingtown. So I had met with this priest who was referred to somebody who I knew at the Vatican. It was the only way I was going to get in there. So
Okay.
I got in there.
Yeah.
The guy met me for 10 minutes. He fell in love with me. He's asking me, you know, you want to stay with the monks for dinner?
Oh,
I
how
said, look, just
cool.
let me look around
Who's
here for a
cooking?
second. Yeah, they were cooking. It was damn good, too. I smelt it. You can always smell a good dish.
That's great.
And I walked around, and I was able to put the story together in my head for about 4 hours. And the next day we filmed. 2.5 days we filmed that whole feature film. It won 290 film festival awards.
What?
That was Acedia. And not one person, including myself as a director, really knew what we were doing. We had a
Wow.
casting call.
See, but isn't that the best though? Like
I think it
kinda
is.
Like I do
I feel
too.
more comfortable
Yes,
like
when you're
that,
flying
you
by
know?
the seat of your pants and you don't
Right.
know where you're going or what direction, but it just always seems to gel.
Because, you know, if an actor forgets their lines on set, they become frazzled.
Yes.
They tighten up. and
Yes.
I can't get them to
Yes.
unwind
Yes.
very quickly. And it does kill this. So I like to give you a scenario and say what you want. I'll direct you. You know, if
Right.
it's right,
Right.
we'll work it out. And that's
Right.
what we did. 250 people showed up to that place. The father's like, Joe, I thought you said this was going to be a small shoot. There were cars. Now keep in mind, it's 50 acres there. But there were cars from the top of the castle all the way to the bottom. It's like something. It was like Woodstock. People were parked. They had their blankets on, and I'm sitting there with the loudspeaker. All right, who's in crew 2? Let's go. They're all getting up. It's hot as hell.
Wow.
It was great, though. You know, and no complaints. You figure all those people. Why? Because you were
Yeah.
dealing with artists
Right.
that really
right.
care about
but this
the craft.
is the thing when you love
Yeah.
the craft. Exactly.
Exactly
That's the
right.
whole thing.
You know, that's one of the reasons why I don't like to deal with agents and high-end actors all the time. I just
Yeah.
don't want to deal with their
Yeah.
crap, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. I totally get it. So in 2022, you did a documentary, another doc, The People Who Shaped American Dining.
Yeah, that was, you know, I guess, you know, timing's perfect. DeFara's Pizza, the old man, Dom, just passed away, and he
Yeah.
was one of the people that were in it. Him and I were old friends. And just really, I guess through my travels of food, and I have quite an extensive list of people that I've met. Drew Nieporant, you know, that owns Nobu and stuff like that.
Yes,
I
yes.
feel that we put the top people in that documentary.
Right,
The
right.
grill girl
Right.
who started women grilling on the grill,
Mm-hmm.
and I still feel is super, super underrated. You know, people like that on the travels. Fortunately, I would have liked to get Ciro Macchione in there from Le Cirque, but, you know, a lot of things have
Yeah,
happened in the
yeah,
last
yeah.
3 years. But, yeah, it's a great documentary. You can find it pretty much everywhere online. It's
Great. And then back up a minute for 2020, you did Six Tales of Sin.
Yeah, so Six Tales of Sin was an anthology series filled with drama, hysteria, supernatural, very similar to Tales in the Dark, but I
Yes.
kept it color.
Right.
It's really the only difference.
Right, right.
And I had YouTube, who is no longer my partner anymore, but I had their space. They kicked me out. I don't exactly follow the rules, you know.
No.
But I was using their space for a while, so I was able to use a lot of their cool stuff. And I
Yeah.
had access to a lot of really good equipment.
Right.
And I did the whole series there.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's really cool. So now we get into more of the Wizards book.
Yes.
Or books.
Could be the books. Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
leaning
which you
towards
said
the
is going to
books.
be a trilogy, and you're going to start filming next week, April 18th. And what's really cool is that, yeah, you do, you know, and you know, being in this industry, when you work with people, who you want to work with again, who you can rely on, who, you
Right.
know,
You know their strengths,
right,
you know
right,
their weaknesses.
exactly. So, like you said, you do use people that you've used in the past. And what's really cool is that you also, you know, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to working with you again because I think
I'm really
you're,
looking forward
I
to
think
it.
you're great. I
Thank
really,
you.
really do. I
Thank
love
you.
everything
Thank you
you
very
do.
much.
But what's really cool is that the other character in a lot of your films is Long Island.
Yes.
And as Long Islanders watching this right now, it's really cool to see Joe's stuff because you're like, I've been there, and I know, and I've, you know, because we filmed in Limbrook, but I know you filmed in Belmore, and you've been,
Right.
you really film all over Long
I
Island.
like to use Long Island, you know.
as
it's-
a backdrop. It's part of the backdrop.
You know, I just don't like to go through the bureaucratic stuff of going to get permits and stuff like
Right,
that because I think
right.
that kills again the
now,
artistry. you know?
technically, do you have to, especially?
No,
maybe
I
if
use
you-
all
if-
private places that I get
Right,
permission
right.
for.
And the
So
place where
that-
we
right,
filmed
correct.
in Limbrook, you actually did some cooking shows
That's
out
correct.
of there.
Yeah, so that's a place that we've gotten permission to film. So you don't necessarily need to go for permits.
Right, certain places.
Certain places, like
Yeah.
somebody can own a mansion. I'm welcome to film in there, like we
Correct.
did with Somnium and stuff like
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because I know there are a few people who they call it, or maybe I call it, maybe ninja filming, where
Guerrilla.
you kind
Guerrilla.
guerrilla filming,
Guerrilla filming, yeah,
ninja
yeah.
filming. You kind of like get in and get
Right,
out,
right.
whether it's outside or somewhere inside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
You've
I've
done
been
it.
there. I've been
right,
there,
you've done
you know,
it. I've
but
done it. I mean,
You have
just,
to be, you know, the
it's
higher
what
you
is
get
it?
up on the
It's easy to
ladder,
ask-
you have to be careful.
It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission sometimes.
It's just, you know, I've shut down city blocks before, Long Island blocks. I've paid for it to have it done.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, we can go into it. You know, it's just, I'm not even going to go there. It's just,
So it's really cool that Long Island is a backdrop for a lot of things you do.
it's a great place. There really is so much great stuff to get. Seems like, you know, I've been all over the United States with casting calls and stuff like that. And Long Island seems to be like very, very driven by talented actors and people who are in the industry.
Yeah.
I'd say neck and neck with New York City, you know.
Mm-hmm,
And then you get to L.A. They unfortunately
it's a
have
different,
that Hollywood
it's a different
mentality.
Breed. It's a different breed out
Yeah,
there.
I call it the Hollywood BS.
Okay.
You know, not everybody, but you know,
Right.
because I've done a lot of filming there too, and I've worked with tons of people. And
Right. I think the people
Yeah.
that are transplants, like people from New York who go to LA, aren't like that.
Yeah, and there's some like legitimate artists in California who still want the greatest. You know, and I'll give you a perfect example. Just, you know, everybody starts off loving this business, and then as the higher you go, you get involved with agents and everything. They poison you. And I've seen it with people I've worked with personally. I'm glad to say that there's
Right.
been many, many people that have worked in my films that have gone on to bigger and huge things,
Mm-hmm.
and I've noticed a change in them. And then when they get screwed over, they call me up and they're like, you know, and I said, yeah, you know, you're kind of like the 40th person that I've seen this happen to.
Right,
You know?
right.
Just you got to stick with your own vision, be who you are, check yourself every day as an individual.
That's the whole
don't
thing.
screw
You gotta
anybody
stay- you
over,
gotta-
don't close
no, you gotta,
the
you gotta
doors.
stay humble. Remember
know?
where you came from, and just yeah.
Like
don't,
anybody
don't
can get
lose
me on the
yourself.
phone, you know,
Yeah,
we can get each
yeah,
other on the
yeah.
phone. If somebody tries to get in touch with me, I try to respond back.
Right, right.
So there's no reason why you got to throw your Beverly Hills agent on me
Right.
because
right.
I gotta knock down that barrier to get to you.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
You know,
No.
it's a famous. I'll tell you. A
You'll
famous
never have
story.
to worry about that with me, Joe. Don't
No,
worry about it.
I know that. I'll tell you a famous story. You know,
Go ahead. I wanna hear
All right,
it.
so I will say a name. Anthony Michael Hall, great guy.
Love him.
So we sit down. He's interested in being in a project of mine. So
Okay.
we sit down. We go to dinner. We have this great meeting. And I said, look, I said, you're a real guy.
Yeah,
I'm a real person.
yeah.
What we agree here, when we leave this table, we've agreed. These are the terms.
Is
right?
it like
So nothing's-
that my handshake is
so,
over
yeah, so
kind of
nothing
thing?
is going to change. You know,
Yeah.
because I've been through this already. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
He said, look, I'm just going to run it through my Beverly Hills attorney. We're all good. Okay. The next morning, I get the phone call and the email from the agent one, then the agent two. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm sorry. You know,
Yeah.
but I love him. But some
Yeah.
people get wrapped up with that. A lot of times it's not even, I don't think it was him. It was people you sign on board with
That's the whole thing.
that don't let you do certain projects, you
Yeah.
know? So you have to be very careful who you're signing on to, because a lot of times, you know, and there are some great agents out there like Bob Bloom in New York City, who I know personally for many years. It's just, you know, a lot of times you sign on and agents won't let you do the work because it's not in their best interest, not in the best interest
Right,
of the actors. I've
right,
seen
right.
people lose big roles to Stranger Things and stuff like that because the agent didn't think there was a fit for them, you know? So
Wow.
you got to be careful who represents you, you know?
Yeah, I've been told. I'm not worrying about that right now, though.
Everybody's always asking me, you know, should I get an agent? I said,
Well,
you know, whoever
well-
you think should represent you, if you can't represent yourself.
That's the thing. That's
know?
the thing. Right now, I do represent myself.
There are plenty of A-list actors. One I just got off the phone with last week who
Mm-hmm.
was going to be in The Wizards, and nobody said anything about an agent. He said, yeah, Joe, when you're ready for me, we'll come down.
Right.
And that's how it should be.
Absolutely.
You know, it shouldn't be that I got to go through this
Jump
wall.
through hoops. I get it. I totally get it. You know what I get? I got to get my last break, my last commercial break. So please don't go away. More with Tea Time and Joe Simonero when we get back.
Great show.
Thank you. So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Doc, who's the best comedian you know?
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Teresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Teresa Farrow.
Doc, who's your favorite Jimmy?
Teresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrow.
All right, Doc, I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm with Joe Simonera. He does everything. The man does everything. He does everything.
Gotta
He
do what you
writes,
gotta
he
do.
directs, he produces, he executive produces, he's edited in the past, he's a chef, he's an author. And you gotta give a shout out to your work wife.
Yeah, so Michelle has been with me for years. Everybody knows Michelle. It's like, you know, whenever I don't want to deal with something, I'll just say, you know, call Michelle, deal
Right,
with Michelle.
right,
And
I know.
She takes a lot of crap.
Yeah, she does. I know.
She's in charge of all the casting. She's been with me for 21 years.
Right, right.
So she knows the whole drill now.
Yeah,
You don't even
yeah.
have to say anything. You
Right.
can disappear. She knows now. She'll say, you know, he's not going to go for it. Let's just cut to the chase. You know, like I'll have people call me up and say, who's this Michelle?
Yeah.
I said, no, she works there. She, yeah, very, very like demanding and to the point. I said, hey, she is the honeybee.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what
yeah,
she
yeah.
says, you know, she knows the drill. And
Yeah.
it takes a lot to, to juggle around people and everything else.
Absolutely, absolutely. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her yet, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, she gets the job done.
A lot of
and
work,
she's got your
you know?
back, and you know that.
Well, that's the
look,
thing, too,
21
you
years.
know.
That's a partnership and a relationship that you could count on her.
And she left the big, movie world too because of just everything with SAG and everything else. So the good thing about it is she knows a lot about SAG and everything else and rules that a lot of rules I don't know about.
Right.
But, it's good to have a good team. That's what I say.
Yeah.
The camera people come and go. I always tell, if I have to give advice to directors, I say, if you're not your best camera person, then you don't have the eye for what you're doing. Because I made the mistake of many years relying on cinematographers who came with a great reputation, $100,000 worth of equipment, and I get into the editing room, I'm like, how could you not get this
what
angle?
are you left with? Yeah.
And I can't do anything about it.
Right.
I can't redo
There's
that.
no reshoots after that.
So
yeah.
part of what really started making my pictures good is when I started to stand behind the camera, because I'm like a nerd with lenses and everything else. And
Yes.
it's all about the glass.
Yes,
You could
yes.
use basically any, I don't want to say inexpensive camera, that's not the word, but if you take like the S1H, for instance, that's what we're going to be using for the Wizards book.
Right.
It's not an expensive camera, but it's the glass. The quality of glass, the Meyer optic lenses, the Carl Zeiss Prime Cine lenses, those are what give you the
Oh,
crisp,
baby, I love when you talk
perfect-
technical.
But those are what's going to give you $1 million look.
So here's the $1 million question. Do you prefer to be in front of the camera or behind it?
I like both.
Because I have to tell you, I've seen you act in a few things, and I
I'm
like
usually
what I'm
the
seeing.
fill-in, thank you, but I'm usually the fill-in. I'm usually like, if I couldn't get anyone to cast, and I said, well, I need somebody, I said, all right, I'll jump in and do
Right,
it.
right.
You know,
Speaking
I
about
do
jumping
like
in,
that.
you've had other family members in the past jump in as well.
Oh, yeah, my cousins, my mom and dad have been huge.
Yeah. Well, when I see the same name,
yeah,
Seminara,
yeah.
I'm like, okay.
For a while, my mom and dad was like, you really need us again? I'm like, yeah, you got to put this on and, put this dress on. They've always been great supporters.
How cool is that, though?
Yeah, yeah.
It's really cool. Listen, we got about 3 minutes left. I also want to talk about a charity, Food for Kids, which help hungry children in the U.S.
Right. So that's been something I've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's basically a couple of things. But the most these days, I'm not really giving away DVDs and traveling all over the United States like I used to do. But I
Right.
have a lot of lectures. And they're mostly to board members and board directors of educational systems on how to make school lunches more important. And I tell you, it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Speaking about health, you also created a program that helps childhood obesity back in
Correct.
2009.
Yeah, so that was a DVD program that you would follow 7 days a week, and it's for 21 days out of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives parents a healthier option that they can give their kids as opposed to just driving up to a fast food
I tell you,
place
I
and,
wish I had that when my daughter was younger.
3 things that'll
Really,
cause
because
cancer.
it's very. It's go ahead. I'm sorry. 3 things that causes cancer:
There's
sugar,
sodium,
sugar,
animal product, and fat. Any kind of fat, oil, stuff like that.
sugar.
So-
No sugar.
No sugar.
Really?
Sugar is not. No, it's fat, sodium, fat, and animal protein. And out of
Really?
my travels of talking to a lot of scientists and food people, those are the 3 things.
Really.
And of course, you're influenced with environmental
So what's a
perfumes and stuff
good
like that.
oil to cook with?
Flaxseed oil is the only oil that and you shouldn't really even heat that temperature up because it breaks the bonds in the
Yeah,
oil.
it breaks down all
Right. So, but flaxseed oil is really the
Really?
only oil that your body could
You put
digest.
your meatballs in flaxseed oil.
Well, tumors can't feed on, they feed on fat.
Yes.
But flaxseed has shown that they don't. They don't.
Okay.
And that's not my research, that's from the
Okay.
Gerson therapy.
Oh,
but
that's very
yeah, it's
interesting
something
to know.
Anyway,
I
so that's
really-
why I've always pushed on the kids,
Okay.
is to stay away from those things.
No. All right, listen, we have about a minute and a half, so I want to tell everybody. First, I want to thank you for doing this. I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate the invite, I really do.
Listen, I'm just glad that we were able to get you in here before we start filming. And I want you to follow Joe, okay? It's Joe Ciminera. It's Ciminera. And he's on Insta, he's on Facebook, and Twitter. It's at Joe Ciminera, okay? So look for him, find
Thank
him.
you.
He's all over YouTube. Again, I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm so
Yeah,
so
I'm looking
excited.
forward to having you as a talent because you're great with acting, and
Thank
and I
you.
think
Well,
it's
you know,
gonna be great.
I myself am a chameleon, and I make myself turn into anything you
It'll be,
want.
it'll be improv though, so you won't know what you do.
But
till
I
you're
love,
on set. Yeah, you
but I
just show
love
up.
that because that's part of what I do too. So listen, everyone, I just want to thank you for tuning in every week. I want to wish everyone a happy holiday, Passover, Easter, whatever you celebrate, because I'm going to be back next Monday after the holiday. I want you to tell everyone you love them, okay? It's so important. Make a phone call to someone you haven't talked to. And a happy 95th birthday to my aunt, my great aunt, and my godmother, Vita Rizzo.
God bless.
Bobby, I forgot to send him a picture, but I put it up on my Facebook page. I called her up and I'm like, happy birthday, Aunt V. And she goes, I'm still here. And I said, God doesn't want you yet.
That's right. You still got more Strufoli you got to make.
You know what I'm saying? So listen, everyone, have a great week. Joe, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you
again.
very much for
Thank you
having me
again
on
for
the
this.
show.
All right, everybody.
God
have a
bless.
great week. Take care. See you next week. Ciao.